History of Football channel. Today I'll be doing another Football League ground, talking about the history of that ground. I've done quite a few of these, there's a playlist, go and check it out. But today's video, we're going to be talking about the history and some other things of Priestfield Stadium, the home ground of Gillingham Football Club. Gillingham Football Club were originally known as New Brompton Football Club, and they were founded in 1893. It was around this time that the club's founders, with 1,500 £1 shares, acquired a patch of land. The stadium was originally called simply the Athletic Ground. A pitch was laid and a pavilion was erected, and the first match at Priestfield was staged on the 2nd of September 1893. New Brompton's reserve team played Greys, followed immediately by the first match for the club's first team against Woolwich Arsenal's reserves. In the early days, most spectators stood on terracing, banked earth or simply around the perimeter of the pitch, as was the case at most other football stadiums at the time. In 1899, a second stand was added along part of the Garden Road side of the ground, reportedly built by off-duty dock workers in exchange for beer and cigarettes. In 1912, New Brompton changed their name to Gillingham Football Club and secured a bank loan of £1,570, which was used to build a new grandstand. However, just 1 month after it were completed, the stand was severely damaged by high winds, which ripped off the roof and twisted most of the ironwork. In 1924, a new attendance record was set at the ground when the club hosted Cardiff City in the FA Cup, with 19,472 people attending. The ground underwent its most extensive redevelopment to date in 1955, which cost the club £28,000. The previously sloping pitch was levelled, the terracing that occupied part of the Gordon Road side of the ground replaced, and new covered accommodation known as the Stanley Stand, erected between the Rainham end and the Gordon Road stand, was built. In 1963, the first floodlights were erected at the ground, which cost the club £14,000. However, this was to be the last significant development work at Priestfield for over 30 years. By the early 1980s, the capacity of the ground was listed as 22,000. However, it was reduced to 19,000 when the Garden Road stand was closed for safety reasons. In 1987, a clock was erected at the corner of the Rainham end and the Stanley stand, dubbed the Lord Sons Clock, in honour of Henry Mills Lade, a member of the club's board of directors. The clock was removed during later stadium redevelopment work. In 1995, the club was took over by Paul Scally, and he'd soon instigated a programme of redevelopment which completely transformed the old rundown Priestfield Stadium. A new Garden Road stand was built in 1997 at a cost of more than £2 million. 2 years later, the Rainham end terracing was replaced with a new all-seater stand, with the sports centre behind it being demolished and replaced with a car park. In 1999, the main stand on the northern side of the pitch was demolished, along with a section of the away terracing, which was to be replaced with a new state-of-the-art facility dubbed the Medway stand, but the work was beset by problems. Due to serious delays with the building of the new stand, the club was forced to spend most of the following season with half of the ground completely empty. Then later, with building work ongoing, supporters were not able to sit in the new stand until the latter stages of the 99-2000 season, and even then, many of the facilities had not yet been finished. The far side of the ground was redeveloped in 2003 when the town end terracing was removed and a temporary stand put in its place, named after the late football commentator and Gillingham supporter Brian Moore. It was hoped that the work would begin on a permanent Brian Moore stand in 2004, but due to the talk of relocating the club to a new ground and the club's current financial problems, this has been put on hold. The 4 stands which now occupy Priestfield Stadium are the Medway stand, the Rainham end, the Gordon Road stand and the Brian Moore stand. In the last 20 years or so, there has been talk about Gillingham relocating to a new stadium. In 2003, Paul Scally declared that there was no future for the club at Priestfield. In 2004, the club outlined plans for a new stadium at Cuxton, but abandoned them soon afterwards due to the cost of improving transport links to the site. These relocation talks were pushed back to 2007 and then pushed back once more until 2010. In March 2017, talks of relocation were back on the table when they identified Mill Hill on the east side of the A289 as a preferred site for the new stadium. However, this has not come to fruition as of the recording of this video. The stadium has had two sponsorship names in its history. The first was from between 2007 to 2010. It was known as the KRBS Priestfield Stadium, and since 2011, for sponsorship reasons, it's known as the MEMS Priestfield Stadium. Now, besides Priestfield being the home ground of Gillingham, for 2 years in the late 1990s, the ground was home to Brighton and Hove Albion, who entered a ground share agreement with Gillingham as a result of the sale of their Goldstone ground to property developers. And this was a particularly dark time for Brighton and Hove Albion, and if you were a fan of that club at that time, to go to a home match you had to travel 150 miles, or in kilometres, 240 kilometres just to attend a home match. That was the distance for a round trip. One interesting thing of note about the Priestfield Stadium is the Brian Moore stand, the away one. It's built on scaffolding. It's like a temporary structure, and I haven't seen too many stands like this, especially in the Football League, but sometimes I look at it and go, is it going to fall over at any moment or whatever have you, but I don't know if they're ever going to actually build a proper stand at that end of the ground, but that's just a picture of what the away stand looks like now. And besides football, the ground has also hosted a rugby league match in 2012 when the London Broncos played the first ever Super League game to be staged in Kent, and they later talked about moving there on a permanent basis. However, these talks fell through, and in the 1920s the stadium hosted greyhound racing. When that officially ended, I'm not too sure, but it says that in the 1920s it hosted greyhound events. The highest ever attendance at Priestfield Stadium was 23,002 people who watched a match against Queen's Park Rangers in the third round of the FA Cup on the 10th of January 1948. The highest ever attendance at the ground pre the configuration in the early days was against Millwall. 20,128 attended a 3rd Division South match on the 2nd of September 1950. The record attendance since the ground became all-seater in modern times was 11,418 against West Ham United on the 20th of September 2003. So that concludes my video on Priestfield Stadium, the home ground of Gillingham Football Club from 1893 onwards. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, let me know in the comment section below. If you're a Gillingham supporter, let me know your favourite matches at the stadium. With Priestfield Stadium, I know it's got a bit of a bad rap in the past. I remember maybe about 10 years ago I was reading in 442 that it was rated as the 2nd worst ground in the Football League, which I think is a bit harsh, but if you're an away supporter, also let me know what you think of the stadium when you've travelled there, and just let me know your thoughts overall on the video. So this has been History of Football, and thanks for tuning in for this video. I'll be making some more videos in the future coming up very soon, so stay tuned for those. Anyways, I'll catch you all later. Ta-ra for now.